Welcome to the Twin Tail Studios podcast, episode 21.
Which is called something, it's
a walk to remember, because I walked over here. And
but are you going to remember that when I edit the video? Because it's our launch. This comes out when Kickstarter launches.
I'm asked so many days from now. That's like 4 days from now or something.
We're recording this on the 3rd, April 3rd.
Go back to Kickstarter. That's what this one's about.
This one is back to starting. Back to the start. Hey, there you go. Back to the start, because it's Kickstarter starting. And this is the start of our company, kind of. So
and my back hurts.
This is live of how we name things. Anyway, if you're not watching us on YouTube, we're on YouTube. If you're listening to us, thank you. If you're not subscribed to us, subscribe to us. If you're not subscribed to our mailing list, you're missing out on a free book. So go check those things out. I'm Brady J. Sadler.
Is that
one
just
of your hosts.
ongoing, by the way? Like anybody just signs up?
Anybody who signs until I decide to turn it off. So take advantage of it now. I'm like I said, I'm Brady, the main host of the show.
I'm Adam Sadler, the primary host of this show.
This show.
This show.
The other one. This podcast is dedicated to the fandom surrounding State of Decay franchise, specifically State of Decay 3, which is coming out pretty soon. They just announced they're doing a alpha test. We'll get into that. This whole episode is going to be about that. That's all we're going to talk about. So if you don't like that, get out of here. Just kidding. We're going to talk about some of our studio updates, which is primarily go back our Kickstarter. It's live right now. We're excited about it.
All the studio stuff's kind of been on hold for the whole month because we've just been waiting for this Kickstarter. Everything's kind of in place and ready to launch. I don't know what to expect.
I know fingers crossed is when you're listening to this. If we're not launched when you're listening to this, go follow it immediately, because you want to hit it. You want to get backing this day one, because if you back it on day one, you get a free bundle of the ebooks. So you get all 3 books. So that's like a great way to get into the world. Even if you're not a big reader, like they're free. So just if the game looks interesting, it's going to be a great price point. So back it, get the books. Also, this is kind of a random thing too, where like if you are eager to check out the books to see if it's to your taste, you can get the book for $1. The first book, Acrid Sky, is going to be available for $1 starting today, which is when this launches, which is when the Kickstarter launches. Be for a week, the 7th through the 14th. So that's not the Kickstarter. That's the sale for the first book, for the Acrid Sky sale. The
Kickstarter will be going for the whole month. I think it's set to go to the 28th, which is a Tuesday. I think 3-week campaign. Seems like a good number.
So we'll have some cool marketing around it from Kickstarter. So we're expecting a decent turnout, so come join the party, help us get it funded.
And again, the game is going to be at a discounted price than what we anticipate MSRP. We should be clear that the MSRP is just kind of a gauge, because we can't plan for this game to go to retail unless it funds at a certain amount. Like when we did our initial Game Found project, we were kind of budgeting for, let's print enough copies to get in retail, and this is our plan. Get down, dude. And now with the new relaunch of Kickstarter, we're doing a very minimal print run, just bare minimum, just get this funded as quickly as possible. And we don't have any guarantees for the retail plan. So unless this Kickstarter does really well and funds a certain amount, maybe close to what we budgeted for the Game Found, then we can plan on retail. But if you want this game, the Kickstarter is a place to get it.
Especially if you want, if you want it sooner rather than later. Because even if we were able to do a full retail print run, it wouldn't be till after everyone gets their copies and everyone's talking about it. And you're missing out. You're like, oh man, I should have backed that. It's funny because that's like the number one thing almost all of our games have had, where it's like people see it hit the market, like, oh, I missed this Kickstarter, and we're like, man, we could have used your help during the Kickstarter. It's like really would have helped the numbers bump up, so going to up our print run. So go back it now, get on the bandwagon before it becomes one. And that is where we're at now, because like we said, we're live on a Kickstarter. We can't really do much outside of that. We can't move forward with our plans until that one sees its way clear of funding and everything.
Yeah, so hopefully it funds day one. I would be thrilled. Get that funded, can get it delivered, and move on to the next game that we have so many ideas for what we want to do next. So we can't really get into that just yet. We'll save the talk of future projects until we see this first one is successful. So
I will talk about a few things though, because I just got an update that because I've been sending out copies of Twin Tail Studios books to various people. Stop messing with my mic. One of those, I think I mentioned on our last episode, I sent a little care package out to the rival podcast, Game Scoop. Not really rival. They're just a video game podcast through IGN, hosted by Damon Hatfield, who's a musician. I sent him a little care package of the Relic Myers books and a few other things in there. So that just arrived in sunny Los Angeles.
Stop with throwing cat hair on me, dude.
That just landed in Los Angeles today after a little mix up with UPS. I got that sorted out. So I also sent out copies to, if anyone's familiar with a fantasy book channel. This is to the readers out there. If you follow Daniel Green, he's actually an author, but he runs a fantasy news YouTube channel. It's pretty popular. Sent him a couple packages also, Relic Myers box and Malice Light box. So hoping to see some more book talk coming out in the wilds pretty soon. Also sent the 666 Samus drummer. Sent some drums, some stuff.
Is that the fart drummer?
Yeah. It was funny because I watched this video last night where he reprogrammed all of his drums, so all of the audio was different, like tones of farts. So he was playing like a bunch of metal songs, but it was all just farts coming out of his drums. It was very, very upscale, highbrow entertainment. So yeah, that's on the book side. And I also want to mention, just because it's new, it's on top of my head, is I am about 20,000 words deep into the next Relic Myers book. It's going pretty well. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm doing the whole stupid I'm gonna write a book in a month thing. So it's the 3rd right now. It's the 3rd of April, and I'm about like almost a quarter of the way into a normal book, like a normal sized book, but this one's probably gonna be a little bigger than a normal sized novel. So stop
increasing the book size every new book in a series.
The Smoldering Vein was smaller than the Withered Roots, and I didn't intend that. I expected the Withered Roots to be kind of smaller, even though it was the biggest I had written at the time. But yeah, Smoldering Vein fell shy of that word count. So far, I think the Withered Roots is still my longest book that I've written. But it won't last long. I think Relic Myers book 3 is gonna outpace that one.
I mean, wouldn't you guys think it'd be cool if we could do a Relic Myers board game? That'd be cool.
It gets asked about a lot, and I really want some more artwork in that world. I commissioned a few character pieces when I was promoting the book. What are you doing to my fingers? My cat's on my lap again. If you're not watching on YouTube, that's a reason you should go on YouTube and subscribe to our channel, because people love cats, right?
Why is he like chewing your finger?
I don't know. He does that sometimes.
I don't like it.
In other news, what have you been playing lately? What's been on the screens, on the table?
This is not what I've been playing, but I just watched a video that kind of bummed me out right before we started recording this. I'm not sure if anybody here is familiar, or anybody listening is familiar with the YouTube channel of The Gaming Historian.
Everyone's familiar with that.
He's been making videos since 2008, I think it was, and he does like kind of like documentary style videos about or videos about video games, like how Mario 3 was created, or Super Mario World. His big ones were he did a Tetris documentary, which was very good, and then the Oregon Trail was his final big one. And like a couple years ago, he announced that he was taking a break and kind of focusing on other parts of his life, and he was working on a new video like last year or something. He said he might release, but today he just posted a video saying, "Hey, I'm done. I don't have the motivation or the desire or the itch to make another video." So he's kind of just like, I'm moving on to other things, which, I totally get that. Like, you can't really force yourself to do what you're not passionate about, what you're not feeling.
But he could monetize it and bring somebody on board to do it.
He could. I mean, he's got like he built up like 1 million followers on this channel, and I still watch these things on repeat. Like when I'm doing other things, I'm like, oh man, I want to listen to him talk about Super Mario 3, or like
he could just narrate it. He could just do the audio, and like somebody else can do all the legwork.
But yeah, it's a bummer because I really liked his videos. If you haven't watched them, he's keeping the channel up, so you can still watch them all, and there's plenty of content to go through. But yeah, a little bummed out about that.
I don't watch the channel as often as you. I've watched plenty of videos.
He hasn't done anything for years.
I know, but I think you watched more of his videos than I have. Yeah, I wasn't that bummed out.
I've probably watched all of them
because I like how it's an archive. It's going to be available. People can go watch it. I know there's it's a bummer. There's not new ones being produced.
But I've watched them all, so that's why it's a bummer. Yeah. And again, like there are other channels out there that do video game documentary stuff, which I just haven't found one that does his quality. Like he does really good quality stuff. So
on the topic of like documentaries. The emphasis on the wrong syllable. The book that the historical book that I most recently read was the Itchy Tasty, the like unofficial history of Resident Evil, and it was like kind of this internal look. This guy named Alex, I think it's like, I forget his last name, Alex Aniel or something. I forget. It's like an A name. But he's very tied into the Resident Evil community, and he's been involved for a long time. But he wrote this book based on all of his interviews and stuff, because he's talked to all these creators, and there's a lot of behind the scenes looks at Resident Evil. And it's really fascinating. So if you're into that kind of stuff, like, a gaming historian, I would pick that book up. It's top of mind also, because I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil games. I played the new one, Requiem, and I was playing the one, my least favorite probably, which is 7. I hate first person Resident Evil so much.
7 wasn't Village, was it?
No, Village is 8. Yeah, 7's like Village is the sequel to 7, but 7's like
7 was the first
Texas
Chainsaw
person Massacre.
It was the first one that was first person.
Yeah, it was, and it's like I can appreciate the story and the theme. Like it's an interesting take. And I'll admit that when it came out, I was ready to hate it, but I played it a lot, and I did all the achievements and stuff. So I played it enough that I got over my initial like disdain for the whole like, oh, let's go first person and let's go really like weird and have this guy chasing you around a house. Like, I didn't feel like Resident Evil to me at all, and I still don't love it, but for what it is, it's a good game. But that book is really a good look at like the classic stuff, like up until like 4. I think it covers the history up until like 4 or Code Veronica or something, but it's a good read.
So what brought that up was I was listening to the Gaming Historian video while I was trying to grind through this Mario Wonder level that was very frustrating. I was trying to distract myself to calm myself down because it was really frustrating. It's one of these like wall jump ones where you have to do this wall jump in a certain amount of time, and the lava's rising or whatever, and it's just really sweaty hands.
Very dexterous.
But anyway, that kind of was what brought that up. But I think I mentioned this last time, where I actually finally beat that Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles Switch 2 version. I finally beat that, and the final battles were pretty stressful and frustrating. Except for this guy, there's a guy you get in your party named Orlando, who is just ridiculously broken. Like, he has this sword ability. What are you doing?
Cat keeps looking. Look how afraid that.
Get a spray bottle. Get one of those spray bottles.
You talked to Orlando Bloom was doing something.
Orlando. And if it wasn't for having this one character in your party, like, he's so broken. Like, he just kills everything in one hit. And I'm not sure why.
What's his job? Does he have a job?
He's not. I think he's a sword saint. Yeah, sword saint is the job. Because all the named characters have like specific jobs that like special job names that replace squire. But anyway, beat it, and it was very fulfilling playing that game, but I don't know if I'm going to play it again. Like, it's one of those games where I'm glad I played it, but I don't,
you think that, like, but wait till,
maybe in 10 years I'll.
Because I remember playing a bunch of Game Boy Advance games when I was younger. Like, I played all through the Advance Wars, like, I'm never going to play that again. But I pick it up now and I play through, like, I get addicted right away. And
it's weird because what hooked me about it first when playing it again, because I played it like back in high school. I think I played that game originally, but playing it now, I got hooked right away with the whole job system, trying to mix and match different characters to get the cool job combinations. But toward the end of the game, I'm constantly just stressed out about it because I can't decide what to focus on, like what guy should have what combination, and like, am I gonna get a new named character that's gonna replace this guy anyway? And you get like 50 slots for characters, but I only use 5 the entire game. You just have a party of 5.
I had that problem with the same thing with Fire Emblem. I'm playing Fire Emblem Sacred Stones right now, and you can, like, depending on what little encounter you're doing, you can have up to like 6 or 8 people, but then you have this backlog of people, and you feel like you have to go grind other places just to like catch them all up. And
I'm always worried that, like, I have this level 8 guy in my party, we're all level 50. She's like, was there a reason to have this guy?
Yeah, it's like that type of gameplay where it's like a big cast of characters. It feels like you should still just like commit to like a group, and if you want to play the other ones, you just play through again with a different group of characters. And I
guess what I don't like about Final Fantasy Tactics is you get like a bunch of named characters for the story, but then you have a bunch of generic guys that you can just hire, and they don't mean anything. They don't have any dialogue. But like, what's the point? You don't need 50 guys? There's like 20 or 15 named characters you can acquire in the game. So why do you even have these unnamed guys? Like, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, I beat it. And so I was playing Mario Wonder for a while because I got that Switch 2 version. And by the way, that game is great. I loved it. I played through the main story. You know, I unlocked all the worlds and I beat Bowser. But now I'm going through and actually like finishing, doing all the completion for every level, getting all the purple coins and all that stuff. There's some really challenging levels in there. But I also kind of took a detour and I reinstalled Triangle Strategy, which is that Square Enix Final Fantasy Tactics style game, the Octopath Traveler graphic style. It's a little rougher than I remember. Octopath Traveler seems more well developed, but Triangle Strategy is pretty cool. And it also, I like the way they simplify things, where all the characters have special actions unique to them, and so like there's no jobs, but every character has their own specific job, so it gives characters identity and stuff, which is kind of cool. But I'm kind of messing around with that. I might go back into it and play through the whole story, but I don't know. I'm a little burnt out on tactics games now, so but yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing. I need to go and catch up on my Marvel Rivals Battle Pass stuff, but
I haven't been pulled back into playing that like video game wise, besides playing the brick over here, which is my Game Boy Advance. It's become literally just my Game Boy Advance emulator, because I pretty much only right now play Game Boy Advance games like Fire Emblem, Sacred Stones. I recently went through the what was the other game I was playing before we talked about it one episode. It wasn't Fire Emblem. It'll come back to me later, but I've been playing like RPGs, a lot of turn-based stuff.
Was it the same kind of game?
No, because I played the first Fire Emblem, but I played something between that and the second one. I forget what order they are, because like the first Fire Emblem actually isn't the first. It's just like the first. It was in North America, but the second one on the Game Boy Advance was Sacred Stones. I'm playing now. The other thing I've been really getting sucked into is this is the book side of things. And I might lose some people here. I'm not sure how many listeners are super into books or anything, but there is this fascinating book series that Adam and I are working with somebody named Jordan Goddard here in local to us. He runs the Indie Toy Lab, as in Indianapolis, like INDY. They do a lot of retail oriented games, a lot of not just tabletop games, like just toys and stuff like that. But he turned me on to this book series by an author named Uketsu, who is a mysterious YouTuber, just wears a black jumpsuit like with a hood and wears like a white mask and does like these puzzles. Like
always hides his face.
Yeah, like he's anonymous. Nobody knows who he is, his true identity. But he does like a lot of these mystery puzzle things on his YouTube channel. And I tried watching them, but they're all like they're obviously all in Japanese, and the subtitle thing on my phone wasn't working, because you have to like go through channels of subtitles and translate it. So it wasn't a perfect translation, so I didn't get into it. But the books are all translated by somebody, I think, based in the UK. So there's 3 books by this guy named Uketsu. Strange Pictures, Strange Houses, and Strange Buildings. And they're super cool. Like the first book I think the first book in the series was Strange Pictures. Jordan, he told me it was Strange Houses, so I read them out of order. But luckily, they're not like it's not like a continuous story. It's more just kind of isolated. What do you call them? Like vignettes. So Strange Pictures, the whole premise is I think it's like 3 or 4 short stories, and they're all told through the eyes of somebody who's evaluating these images, and they're shown in the book, like the actual pictures. And in Strange Pictures, it's like drawings, and it's evaluating how these drawings are made. And I won't get it into detail, because it's like it gets kind of spoilery, obviously. But I couldn't put these things down. I read all 3 books in the span of like maybe 4 days, and they're like full-length novels. So Strange Pictures is probably the shortest. It's pretty good. I just finished Strange Buildings like 2 days ago, I think. That's the biggest one. And that one's like 11 different cases, but all the cases are tied together, so they tell a greater story at the end that's kind of wrapped up. And the the premise of Strange Buildings and Strange Houses is all told through floor plans. So I read them out of order. I said I read Strange Houses first, and Strange Houses just it shows this like really normal looking floor plan from a house in Japan, but it has like this weird dead space in the kitchen where it's like a small little like area in the section of the wall that didn't need to be there, and you lose space in the kitchen by having this like dead space there. So like the author was like, this is weird. So he went to his architecture friend and said, hey, what is this? And they start drafting all these theories about what this little dead space could have been used for, and it gets really morbid and like it's got this kind of like horror mystery feel to it, but very cool unorthodox way to tell stories through just like almost over analyzing floor plans or over analyzing drawings, but I would check them out if you're into like kind of more quirky mysteries, thrillers. It's pretty cool stuff.
This may or may not be related to it, but I saw the other day I saw a trailer for the new Backrooms movie.
Very much related to it. It's very when I watched that trailer, I mean, obviously I was reading the books at the time, but I think having read those books, I was like, man, this feels like almost like a could have been in one of these books. It just has that vibe to it. So
I'll admit that I was familiar with the concept of Backrooms for a while, but like I mean, he talks about it, but it's also kids video games they have a lot of references to that, like they call them levels and stuff like that, it was backroom level, but seeing this trailer, which by the way the trailer was awesome, like it instantly made me want to go watch the movie, but after I saw the trailer, it was on YouTube, there was a recommendation for Backrooms found footage, which was I guess the original video.
That was Kane's original,
Kane Pixels, I think, isn't YouTube pages.
I thought it was Kane. Well,
his channel is called Kane Pixels, but he did these videos, and then like it was 2022. He did his first pass of Backrooms found footage, which I think was the original video that spawned this kind of like craze about Backrooms. But the video is basically just like something, I think he made it in Blender. He made a bunch of rooms with weird lighting and stuff like that, but it was like, imagine just getting transported into this basement or something where there was just these weird shaped rooms that never end. And
it's always called a basement, but it looks kind of like a hotel hallway.
It's kind of like an office building or something.
Yeah, like an empty office building.
But it's creepy because it's bright and it's like, it looks clean and it's like, oh, look, like an empty office or something where somebody's waiting to move in, but they're weird shaped like walls, and then like weird stuff happens where you start seeing like a dumpster randomly in there, and then like
or like a hole in the wall with a ladder going up to it,
and then like there's like creepy like shadows and stuff. But it's like a 10-minute video. I never watched it before, but I finally got around to watching it, and I kind of understand where the craze came from, because it's an interesting take and it was very original. He was like 16 years old when he did that.
And from my understanding, like I'm not an expert in this, but from my understanding, the whole like Backrooms thing started with some anonymous post on Reddit. Like I think it was in that, like there's that whole creepypasta subreddit, which is like just creepy stuff. And all I know, the creepypasta thing is from like crime documentaries I've seen where some kid learned something off of creepypasta. And but anyway, somebody posted, it was like an anonymous poster just posted an image of a strange looking room with fluorescent lights and like weird walls and stuff, and it said, the caption was like something like, oh, you wake up here after being what's that, clipped out of reality, like when you're clipping in a game, you clip into some other area, and you clip out of reality and you land here, what do you do? And there was like people talking about it, and then somebody in the comments said something about Backrooms, and that became like the thing, and then I think that's where it kind of spawned from there, and then kind of popularized it with this video. And
it's supposed to represent like something, like you said, outside of reality, where it's like you're just in these rooms that look familiar, like it looks like a room you would see somewhere, but the shapes are strange, and it's very strange. It's confusing. It's like creepy because there's an element of loneliness. You don't know where you are. You can't explain this stuff. You're being chased by something you don't see. Lots of elements of horror that fit really well in this simple concept. And
I think it also harkens back to like just that unsettling nature of architecture, like in the Stanley Kubrick Shining. There's like those shots where you just see these impossible architecture things where you don't really know it when you're watching it, but it just, something seems off and you can't tell what it is. And it's funny because like when you watch the making of The Shining, there's very intentional ways where they're like, okay, we'll have windows here, but when they turn the corner, there's like a wall, so there couldn't have been windows over there. But you don't catch that when you're watching it.
It's like Seinfeld's apartment. Like his door is like
But it's like I think that's why I thought of those books, because that's what it plays on. Like when you read the Strange Houses specifically, that was the first one I read, and I was hooked immediately because I saw this. It shows you this floor plan, and you're looking at it, okay, it's a house. But then when you read more, it like makes you focus on little details. Like, oh, I didn't notice that before. Why is that? Why does this room have no windows? And why is the bathroom detached over here? But there's the only way to access it is going through the master bed. It's like really weird stuff where like I would not have caught that if I was looking just at a floor plan, and it makes you just kind of like. It reminds you of that whole taking things at face value and like not really questioning what you see until you start digging deeper. I think that's what that whole Uketsu book series is about.
Speaking of movie trailers, which by the way, again, that Backrooms trailer looks pretty cool. So if you haven't watched it, go check the trailer out. And Mario, there's that new Mario movie coming out it's actually out now, right? Like it came out.
I think so.
We're seeing it on Sunday, which we would have seen it in the past when this launches.
We have seen it. It's great. I
loved it. It looks fun, but I hear that Star Fox is in it, and that makes me also remember that there was this leak that it seems credible leak, but Nintendo is remaking The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and there's also going to be a new Star Fox game coming out this summer for Switch 2.
It's weird they would remake Ocarina of Time. I mean, I get like because it's got nostalgia and stuff, but like just make a new game. Like they make awesome games.
I can understand the desire because that game came out with the 64, and like so many of those games. I think they should remake Mario as well, like the Mario 64 game. Not because it's a bad game, but because 64 was pretty rough. Like
it's hard to emulate that stuff because you go back and watch like videos of that, and it just. You didn't notice at the time, but playing it now, it's like everything's so pointy and
blocky. Yeah. But like in Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, it probably felt a little empty and stuff like that because of that. Like I think it probably suffered from the graphical. Like there's graphical improvement, but it wasn't quite there yet. And I feel like it probably could have been a better game. So remaking it should be pretty cool. But I've been saying this for years that like as far as Nintendo games go, but I cannot believe they haven't made a new Star Fox game. Yeah. Like Star Fox 64 was so good.
What wasn't the last like real Star Fox game the Adventures one that wasn't even like piloting? It was like you're just on foot, like running around the planet like an RPG.
There was some that was weird,
GameCube,
not official like Star Fox game, but there was some.
No, it was like I think like the last real Star Fox game that was like Star Fox. I think it was Star Fox Adventures, that GameCube game, and I never played it, but I like the concept of like just running around. But like it seems weird to me that would just be the game because I would want some kind of hybrid where it's like you could fly around and then like some missions you hop out and you're like running around on foot.
It just always bothered me because I played Star Fox 64 so much back in the day when it came out, and I remember specifically like it was always frustrating because the story mode was single player, but there was always 4 characters. So it'd be perfect for a 4-player co-op game, but it never was. There was a battle mode, but I still remember specifically in the Star Fox game, in the battle mode, you could unlock your guys on foot with a rocket launcher.
It was really hard to do.
You had like get perfect on every level, and like there are some that were really hard, but you had to like get all these collectibles and stuff like that. And I spent the whole summer, I remember like mastering this game and finally unlocking foot battles, and it was not really worth it at all.
Like that's the thing though, like it wasn't worth it, but it felt like it was worth it because it was like running around and like climbing on a pyramid and just like blasting guys out of the sky. It was silly, but it was like it felt cool.
Yeah, and that's another game where the graphics are rough. Like you go back and play it now, it's rough, but that game was really fun. And I've been waiting for them to do like a good Star Fox game, like dogfighting 4-player co-op, shit battle game for a while. So I'm excited. I don't know anything about it other than
it's funny too because you think about like celebrity star power because like GW really includes Henry Cavill in a lot of things because Henry Cavill loves Warhammer 40K, and I'm sure they want to have him be like the brand ambassador. Ambassador, and he's got the show, so it's like you figure if they push enough, they can get with it. And it seems like Glenn Powell, he like that quote that we were talking about from IGN, where it's like he's just a big Star Fox fan, and he's been pushing for like a solo Star Fox movie, that'd be awesome. It's just like a serious. I know like the Mario movies are kind of quote unquote serious in a way. They're like they're taken seriously, but like I imagine something that's more just cohesive, where it's like just a Star Fox world movie. That'd be kind of cool, kind of interesting. Even though I don't know much about that setting besides the games.
I just know I liked Falco, but he was a jerk.
Yeah, Slippy was the man.
It's weird because you got Falco, you got Peppy, and you got Slippy. And then you got Star Fox. Like his name was Fox. Like I mean, everybody else had clever names, but he's just I'm a fox, so my name's Fox. Fox McCloud.
It's also just a weird IP. And you think, how did it ever succeed? You know, it's just like let's make a starfighting game, but you play as a fox.
I think that it was originally a Super Nintendo game, the first Star Fox
nice.
game, and then Star Fox 64 was the one that I remember the most. I almost upgraded my Nintendo Switch Online membership just to play the 64 games. I think I might, but it's like $40 a year.
I think I still have it because I think I paid the annual one.
And just do that family plan, by the way, because I mean you can do a family membership with like up to 2 to 5 people or something.
I don't know. Nobody in the house plays Switch except for me.
You don't have to live together. Family just means you just group up and right, Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, I see. I thought you were saying I should do that just because of
No, I'm just saying if we both have Nintendo Online accounts.
The problem I have with the emulators is like I use other emulation devices like this one, and like
you can share games too on family. So I could give you Metroid Dread. You can finally play it on Switch.
I've watched enough Dread. I feel like I have played it. I've watched.
If I watched it, like looking at the game would not interest me at all, but playing it was really fun.
I don't doubt it because I played Metroid Fusion and Metroid First Mission.
No, Metroid Dread.
I know. I'm just saying that all those Metroid games are good. What I want to talk about though specifically for the rest of the remaining 30 minutes.
Before we do that, before you start getting into that, I didn't mention tabletop stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, we've been playing Arkham Horror.
Yeah,
do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I love Arkham Horror. We talked about it a little bit last time, but
well, I will say that we both got Arkham Horror when it first came out, and we played quite a bit of it. I sold my stuff because I didn't want to keep collecting
during
it.
The first cycle, right? Like during the first.
Early on, I sold it because you were buying everything. It's like, why would I need 2 copies of this? And I was also trying to collect the Marvel game, Marvel Champions.
Well, that wasn't out yet.
I think when I sold it though, it's when it came out. When I think I had the stuff, but I just didn't keep buying it. But anyway, then I sold my Marvel stuff because I didn't want to keep up with. I don't want to keep up with card games. But anyway, he has everything for Arkham Horror. But that new box came out. What's it called? Is it called Chapter 2?
I'll tell you in a second. But I want to touch on that because you said he has everything. I don't have everything. So I think last episode I mentioned, hey, if you have Feast of Hemlock Vale, please send it to me. I totally spaced that. Of course, one of our most dedicated listeners, Richard Lanius, texted me immediately, and he was like, "Hey, I think I have a copy of that." I was like, "Oh my god, I totally forgot you would have a copy," and because like you can't find that anywhere. It's like done. It's not going to be reprinted or anything. So, luckily, Richard, thanks again. It means the world to me. I appreciate you sending that to me because that's the only one I was missing, and now my collection is complete. Anyway, yeah. The new box, it's actually just titled as like Arkham Horror, like it's just like a new core set, but like unofficially, like internally within the community, it's just referred to as Chapter 2. I think FFG has actually called it Chapter 2 going forward, but that includes the previous expansion, which was the Drowned City. That was the most recent expansion. My theory being, I'm not behind the scenes anymore, but my theory is they had some production issues in cards on later expansions because if you have all this stuff and you make decks, you'll probably notice sometimes your cards are all different sizes. They kind of like, I don't know if you notice that when you're playing, but your decks are not like all matched up. Some of the cards are a little slightly bigger, just by a tad. But also like I think the card durability is different because in this new course that they printed with the Drowned City, those cards seem so much better, so much slicker, a little sturdier, probably the same size. I haven't tested all that, but anyway, yeah, that it's like the new phase of the game now. So they have the new core box, which is really well done. Some people have been kind of poo-pooing on it because the 3 scenario campaign is very reminiscent of the one in the old core set, which I think is intentional. It's like, it's like a good entry level one, and it kind of has like a throwback feel where if you've played the game before, playing this feels like kind of like going back and revisiting the first campaign in a way, but it's still a little new. It's not just reprinted stuff. And they also in the new core game they provided location connection tokens, like little arrows, and those things I remember almost buying those from third parties like when I played the game more frequently, but I was like, it seemed kind of unnecessary, but I should have bought them because they make a huge difference. I just love quickly visualizing where all the connections are, because if you haven't played Arkham Horror, the card game, they have all these locations out in play, so it's kind of creating a game board in a way, but every location has the icons telling you which locations you can travel to. And that's fine, but like a lot of times it's hard to dissect all that information and figure out where you want to go, and these tokens really help with that. So,
I don't like it. I think
connection arrows?
No, I don't like the design with connected locations.
Yeah.
I feel like if they should just like you just move somewhere. Like you go here, you go. It's like,
honestly, as much as I love the feeling of having a character placed somewhere, that's the one beef I have with the game is like when I first heard they were making an Arkham Horror card game, my mind was going crazy thinking about like this abstracted version of like, you know, an RPG where we just have hands of cards and we're investigating things without this kind of like board game aspect. And I'm not opposed to it because like obviously I love Arkham Horror. I play a lot of it. I keep buying all the stuff for it. So I still love the game. But if I had like my ideal version in my head, it wouldn't have been that. It would have just been like a abstract card game like Magic the Gathering, you know, where you just have a hand of cards and you're playing like more fast paced, not like.
And there could be locations, but it could be like Warhammer Quest Adventure card game where you're at a location and you're just, you know, you're in this
it's kind
campus.
Of how Lord of the Rings kind of. Lord of the Rings was a little trickier though because they had really almost convoluted mechanics for how locations worked because they kept getting spit out by the encounter deck and they'd pile up in the staging area, but you only travel to one at a time, so that was kind of obnoxious. But yeah, like there's some little things that I have that I don't love about the Arkham Horror card game design, but overall it's hard to get me away from because I love the theme. I love how beautiful the cards are. It's like all the cards look great, and the artwork's cool. It's a very immersive game, and it taps into the whole Holy Grail board game for me, where it's like your character is a deck of cards, and you get to modify it, and I just love that. I love the whole. Here's an RPG character, but it's all a deck of cards. That's what I really want all the time. So yeah, we've been playing that with our buddy Mitch, playing a 3-player game, and I'm on cloud 9 because usually I have to fight tooth and nail to get either my kid or my daughter Riley or my wife Sarah to play with me. And Sarah likes the game, but she doesn't really get into it as much. I build her deck, I upgrade her deck. You know, it's like she's just there to pilot it. That's something. But with us, it's like you and Mitch actually make decisions and stuff. So
I will say I've played the game quite a bit. I will say this time it's been a little bit more enjoyable because I think my deck is better. I'm playing as Vincent Lee, and I still don't understand why Vincent Lee is a Seeker and not a Guardian.
Just because, he came late in the game's life cycle. I bet when they make him in this new chapter 2, because they're going to do new versions of these investigators. But
I know he's a doctor and he's smart and everything, but like he's all about healing, and he actually has a lot of things that are good for fighting monsters. Like, you know, you get the dissection kit, you can you can dissect monsters and stuff and get better. But
I think he's going to be a Guardian in the new iteration.
I hope so. I feel like he should be a Guardian. But I will say I still really don't like the amount of reading in the game.
Yeah,
like I don't think you need that much text to set the stage for a scenario.
It needs to be more interspersed, I think.
It's so much up front, and it's like I can't even pay attention. Like I just want to play a game. I don't want to sit there and listen. So I space out, and it's not like I have an attention attention span issue or something. But
I think it's part of why it's such a successful solo game, because people will play it solo or two-handed, where they'll play as two characters.
God, I would hate playing that solo, like reading that to myself. Like I would hate it.
I played a lot of that solo. I played almost every campaign up until like the most recent one solo, because like I said, nobody ever wanted to play. I didn't have like a consistent game group. I was convincing Sarah to play with me.
Even like having text to just set the stage is one thing, but there's like dialogue and stuff, people talking to each other, and it's just so much flavor up front.
The one we're playing too is notorious because like there's a lot of specific setup things that if you miss, like we did, like I missed several, because that was the first campaign where a lot of those effects were so separated on components. Like some were in the campaign guides, some were like on the back of cards, and there were just a lot of things you could easily miss and just break the scenario. And we kind of did, but we just played through it because like I didn't want to reset everything. But I think that campaign is apparently. I was when we started playing it, I got a post suggestion on Reddit because our phones know what we're doing all the time. Somebody posted about that campaign saying like, so is this why everyone hates this campaign? And apparently like it's notorious in the community because it's so difficult. I didn't know that, but I think it's difficult from the complexity level because like the effects are hard to keep track of. But anyway, yeah, that's what we're doing now. Arkham Horror, great game. I'm glad to be playing a consistent campaign, and I'm looking forward to getting the new decks when they come in.
Now, I brought this up mainly because of that new box. Like, I feel like I'm a sucker when it comes to like good products, like good production, and I don't really I never had a desire to have this game again. Like, I'll play it. Brady has everything, so I don't need to have it. But seeing that new game, that new box, I honestly had it in my cart on Game Nerds, like ready to check out, and I had to stop myself because it's like, I don't need this. Brady, I'm never going to play it at my house by myself. He has it. I play games at his house.
You might, though.
But just that product is very well done. Like, FFG did a great job. That box makes me want to buy it. Even the rule book is like thick, thick pages, and
that's how the RPG is, man. I have like, I don't have everything for the Arkham RPG, but I bought enough that I feel a little embarrassed because I don't know if I'm ever going to play it. I'm not even like that pulled. There are some RPGs that I'm like pulled to play, like, you know, when we get the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, I'll be like wanting to play that. And I still, I would play the Arkham RPG, but it's not like I'm like gung ho to play it. But I will buy the box adventures because they look so nice. The production's amazing, and it's cool to look through every once in a while. It's just a box of toys.
I will say, if they did have a character or an investigator that I liked, I probably would have bought it. But there's no characters I want to. I don't like the characters, the investigators in the box. And also, you said that the campaign, the Drowned City, was that the one we're playing right now with Mitch?
No, we're playing the Circle Undone.
The Drowned City was the first.
It's the first chapter 2 one.
That's out of stock as well as the Drowned City Investigator box. If those were in stock, I probably would have bought that as a bundle.
Those are getting reprinted because that's the whole reason they're doing this whole new edition, because they just want to stop reprinting all the older ones they have. And I think it's just a result.
Is that an older one?
What?
The Drowned City?
No, it's the newest one before this core game released, the core set. But the core set, the chapter 2 includes Drowned City. Like, they were officially considering that the first chapter 2.
Even though it's out of print.
It's going to be reprinted. But yeah, it's out of stock right now. But what I was saying is, like, the reason they're doing this new chapter 2 is because with the older expansions, like the Circle Undone, for example, we're playing that. When that came out, it was like, here's the deluxe box, and then here's the monthly packs they would do. But then they went and they did like the whole return to Circle Undone, and they had like a storage box. That's the one I have. So they were doing that with so if they had to reprint everything, it'd be like all of that, and they just didn't want to do it anymore. So they just they started this whole new packaging thing. Now it's just like they've repackaged all those to be investigators and campaigns, but now they're going to do shorter campaigns. So yeah, I think it's a good move, a bit business wise, but it also means that, you know, you'll be able to find the products more easily. Yeah, but that box is nice. It's got dividers, which is surprising for FFG with their card games. That alone is like reason where I'd want to buy it. Yeah, I read somewhere though they're not doing that with all the releases, which is a shame, because it's like, why would you set that expectation? Yeah. But I guess it makes sense because those are the core encounters, and those are the ones you'll pull from the most. So like, I guess that makes sense in that way. Yeah, that'd be kind of frustrating if I was going to buy all that stuff and just not have like dividers for everything. Luckily, there is Tesseract Games, and he does amazing dividers. He did all the other ones I bought. So I bought all my Marvel United dividers from him. Now the rest of the time we're going to talk about one more thing. One more thing about tabletop is I got my High Elves in for Blood Bowl yesterday, and I made a team. I was unpacking it, and I sliced my finger with scissors when I was unpacking the box. I didn't realize I was gripping the blade when I was opening it. And is my right index finger. It's like the one I use to unlock my computer, and it's like the one I type on my phone with. It's like such a useful finger, and it's sliced open. So dealing with that, and it's also really hard to assemble these little tiny miniatures with a freaking Band-Aid on. Yeah, so send there'll be a P.O. box on the screen, so send your sympathy cards to the P.O. box. Just deposit money into my bank account, and the Twin Tail Studios account. We should start a Patreon, by the way, to repair my finger. Yeah. Well, just in general, like everyone listening to this wants to give us money, so we should start a Patreon. Yeah, so I finally got my High Elf team, got the dice, the dugout, all that stuff. Now I just need to find people to play Blood Bowl with me regularly, but I got to paint them, so I got a new project to work on. Maybe it'll keep me busy the next couple weeks while this Kickstarter's going on, and I can not obsess about it. But yeah, looking forward to that. I'm excited about that. After 10 years, I finally have High Elves in Blood Bowl. So, speaking of 10 years, after 10 years, the next topic at hand is today. I got a random message from Adam when I forget what I was doing. I was doing something else, work related, and Adam sends me a Discord message with a YouTube link, and State of Decay 3 had some news finally. Last time we heard from them was like last year. They put out a trailer after being quiet for almost like a decade. State of Decay 3 is having a alpha playtest, so they're inviting people to apply, which I've done so. You should do so as well if you want to check this game out.
Why? They're going to less your chances for getting in there.
The more numbers they get, though, that means the more popular it's going to be.
I don't think they have a problem with numbers. Yeah. They're going to have to cut.
So the reason I say 10 years is because I don't know if we talked about State of Decay a little bit back when we talked about our zombie episode, back when we were Joint Operations podcast. But we've always been into zombies. Like me, especially, I've loved ever since I watched Night of the Living Dead for the first time as a preteen or something. I've always been fascinated by zombies. And then when I got into Resident Evil, I just went off the deep end, and that's like been my favorite genre for a long time. I think that when I first got in State of Decay 2 was probably the most depressed I was my entire life, because it was like, we were going through the blacklist stuff. I was trying to build my house, which I'm recording in my house right now. But while we waited, we lived at my in-laws, which is, it's great that they let us live there, but it's like you feel like a burden, when you're like living in somebody else's house. And with my work, like not being able to find jobs, and I just was not doing well. I just kind of felt like, ugh. But I started playing State of Decay 2. I had been familiar with it for a while, so I liked it. But I got really deep into it because I needed like an escape pretty much throughout the day, because I wasn't finding any jobs, and just keep my mind occupied. So I would play like hours and hours of State of Decay 2. I just became obsessed with it. The problem is it didn't have great multiplayer. Like, it had multiplayer, but it was like you could join somebody else's world and like romp around with them. But like the game, it was an open world game, but you were tethered to the hosts of the game you're in. So like if Adam was hosting a game and I joined his community, I would come in as just a guest, and I could help him out and help him build his stuff up. But I didn't own anything there. I had no like stake in the world. And then also, like, if you drove off in a car and left me behind, it would just teleport me to you after a certain radius exceeded.
Yeah, so. It almost felt like don't even bother with multiplayer. Like,
that's what it came down to.
It's such a tease.
Because like when you're playing the game, like especially on the harder difficulties, it's like it delivers the like survival fantasy perfectly. Like it feels like you're in this broken world and you're trying to survive, but it's also kind of a weird hopeful like take on it, where it's not just like dreary and depressing. Like it's not just dark constantly. It kind of feels like a little more fantastical, a little more like campy in a way. So I've always loved the tone of the game, but it's also like it's just a kind of a GTA style game where you can hop in whatever car you find, drive around until it's out of gas.
They also love to open doors and slam zombies. Like it seems like it's a central part of the game.
And like I remember when I first started playing it, we played it multiplayer, and I was like going through this, I think it was in Providence Ridge. It has this cool like downtown area, and I went to this little diner, and like I was looting stuff, but then I saw this huge horde of zombies going through the main street downtown. So I was like ducking down, turn my flashlight off, and I was like crawling by the windows, and like just the scene looked so cool because this is a third person game, so you see your character and he's like ducking behind a window, and this whole like army of zombies is like going by. It feels so cool. Anyway, long story short, I was such a huge State of Decay 2 fan. I just became obsessed with that game more than anything. I wanted to make a State of Decay 2 board game. Like I wanted to get the license for it. I was that obsessed. So when they announced State of Decay 3, I was following that along. But that was back in like I think they did the first tease of State of Decay 3 back in like 2020 maybe. Like
yeah, I think it was 2020.
Yeah, like they posted a video of,
and I just learned also that that tease had like nothing to do with the game.
Yeah, because the game wasn't even in development yet.
The video had like a zombified deer or something,
which they've confirmed today officially that the zombified animals are not in the game, which I'm grateful for. I did not like that at all, but apparently a huge crowd in Reddit. Like they were like, that's what I was most excited about. I'm like, why? Like what?
I doubt it's a huge crowd. It's probably just a handful of people.
Yeah. Some commenters, I should say. Ow! Get off my freaking. Cat's chewing on my finger again. Very stoked to see some news about State of Decay 3. It's been way too long. I'm gonna push this cat off my lap because he is biting he like almost ripped my pinky off.
Stop letting him chew on it.
The high level bullet points. Sound like
cat hair all over the place here.
The high level bullet points of the like 2 hours of footage I've watched from different content creators talking about this. It looks like the game's gonna deliver on everything I wanted out of a sequel, because the biggest like expectation, I think, from the community is like better multiplayer, and they're building this State of Decay 3 up just from the ground up as like a multiplayer game. You can still play solo, and they're still trying to cater to the people who play solo, but it's very much trying to deliver on that. Hey, you have 4 people, you all want to build up this community together and survive together, and that's what it's aiming for. One thing I couldn't get like a good grasp on is if you could like make characters, or if you had to like still control community members. Or that
was honestly there was a couple things I had a huge problem with on State of Decay 2. For overall, I think it's a fun game. I really enjoyed playing through it. It was fun, but it felt like it was a single player game with a tacked on multiplayer function, like in Mario Odyssey, where the second player can control Mario's hat or something. Like it's not fully. It's like, oh, so dumb. But the game's fun. Like the controls are smooth. It's a fun game, cool world, all this stuff. But I always hated how you were just playing as a random person, and you just had to hope that it was somebody that you wanted to play as. I would rather just make my own character, and then pick my skills and stuff. Or it could be random skills. It didn't matter. But
that made multiplayer tough too, because if I went into your world and I had like 3 guys at my community, and like as I cycle through them, like, oh, he needs to go rest, like they wouldn't actually rest until I went back to my own world. Yeah. So I'd like run out of people to play as. So it should have been like more I just play as your characters or whatever. But.
So there was, that was annoying. And then also, like, like you mentioned, it wasn't really multiplayer. It's like you were coming and playing in my world, and so you didn't feel like you had any ownership. You didn't care about upgrading the base. It's like you're just there to be like some a nameless assistant or something, like a ghost helper. But all that sounds like it's being fixed in State of Decay 3. But I don't think the make your own character, because they kept talking about like your favorite person dying or something. So like I think it's the same thing,
which is not a huge deal to me. It's just like I didn't want it to be something where, because in State of Decay it's very much as you're playing as a community, but I'd rather it be like you're playing as characters who have to manage a community. Like your community is like resources, where it's not just your.
I don't want to take turns playing through like controlling different characters. Yeah. I want to play my guy, and I want to stick to my character.
But that'll be good feedback probably for the alpha play. If I get into the alpha playtest, I'll just hammer that home. Like I want to be a character, and it's like, I don't even care if I can't make my character, but like I at least want to like just be I want to be a character, and that's who I am. Like by default, if he dies, I get somebody else, whatever, fine. But I just would like to be like where you kind of like have your own identity, instead of just playing as the group and you're just choosing which member to play as at the time. But other than that, like that's a minor thing. That's more just a theme thing, because one of the strongest points from what I've taken away from all of the new, they've only like leaked certain things, but Philip Holt, who's like the head of Undead Labs, was confirming that everything that people love about State of Decay 2, like the gameplay loop, is all there. They've just been adding to it, which is all I wanted to hear, because I was afraid they might try to like experiment or something, because the main appeal with State of Decay 2 was that gameplay loop where it always felt like you had a reason to go out and risk your life. You had like you had clear goals you wanted to achieve. Like I want to build this specific upgrade in my base so I can do X, Y, and Z. But it also has like that feel where like, okay, we have to take down this plague heart. It's getting too noisy over there. There's too many zombies. We got to take the fight to them. So you got to prep all your stuff, get your best gear together, and like hop in your car. That always feels so exciting. It's like, it feels like you're actually in that world. It feels like you getting your crew together and you're going out, and doing that in a multiplayer world that's like a shared world just sounds incredible. So I'm excited to try it out.
So there are 2 things about the game that I want to point out. One of them I'm excited about, and one of them I'm not excited about. The first I'm excited about is that in State of Decay 2, you had like basically just like a zombie spawn cloud following you around everywhere. So no matter where you went, zombies would be there. Like it kept the pressure on, but it felt like it doesn't matter. There was no like dynamic, let's go somewhere quiet. In State of Decay 3, they're trying to make it more realistic in that there's pockets of activity.
The way I read that when I hear them talk about that is, I think that like they still have that cloud that follows you, but it intensifies differently based on your environment. Like it seems like if you're out in the woods, it wouldn't be as like frequent of spawns, but if you're out in like the city, that's where they have more spawns. That's the way I was reading it when they said it. Well, but either way, it works the same way.
Regardless, it's just not like artificial zombies following you around. Like you're like, you're creating noise, so you might attract zombies, but there are some places where they wouldn't be as active. So I like that they're doing that. The one thing that I don't like is one of the core parts of this new game is that it is set like years in the future, and actual like functional supplies are much more scarce, and you have to craft things more. which is kind of cool on a mechanical standpoint. But I always like the idea of the initial survival after a zombie apocalypse, where you're still able to find supplies in random houses and stuff like that, where there's still signs of civilization left. It's not just like, in The Walking Dead, 10 years later or something, where everything is overgrown.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be kind of like a balance, because I can't imagine them going away totally from like, oh, you found a 9mm handgun. But I think like it's going to be more where like that's a rare thing, and more often than not, you're going to like rely on some kind of like cobbled together weapon.
I just like State of Decay 2, where you go into a house and it's like, it was like almost abandoned like a week ago, and so there's still stuff there, and it's like, you're just there scavenging things. I like that.
I do, but I also am excited about the idea where like in the trailer it showed like all this overgrowth where it's like you're in a different planet almost. I kind of like that, because it lends itself more identity, because it really leans more into the whole like plague thing, because I think that's where like that's where State of Decay's IP is. It's like, it's not just zombies, it's like this kind of like weird fantastical zombie where it's like these plague growths that kind of spawn zombies.
Maybe this could be DLC. That'd be kind of cool, where you'd have different game modes, like in Project Zomboid, where you can kind of, I want to start right after the apocalypse. No, I want to start 10 years later. So like, it's kind of like a difficulty scale slider. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So.
It also could be something where they do like different maps, because they haven't really talked about how they're going to do like locations, or like I don't know if they're still having the same structure where you choose a map and then you just play through until you clear the map. Like, I don't know what their plan is for that, like, because it sounds like they kept talking about playthroughs, so it might be the same thing where you just like kind of start a map, and then if you clear it, you just move on to another map or whatever. So they might do that, where like if you could choose to go to a map that's like more heavily occupied by the plague, or one that's kind of further away from civilization and it's more left alone. So
I did like that in Zombicide, or not Zombicide, sorry. I did that like that in State of Decay 2, where you had these like not generic, but like these maps that were like the countryside, and like the city, where you just picked a map and your run was just like clearing it out. And it's like that. It was a cool feeling where if you felt kind of accomplished, where, I'm taking out all these plague hearts and stuff.
Yeah. And one thing too is like, you didn't get too heavy into this, because it can be really stressful if you're not used to it. But I played a lot of like lethal runs, where lethal is like the hardest difficulty, and it's insane. It's like you cannot like safely even go out of your base for longer than maybe a few minutes or something without getting just completely overrun by zombies. And it's very tense, very harsh, and every little piece of loot you find is like so crucial. Like if you find a gas can for your car, you're like, oh my god, you're like so excited, because it's so hard to come by. And that was really fun. But I imagine playing that, once you play the game, the State of Decay 3, and we're used to it, maybe we'll start easing into that, where it's like, let's try the harder difficulties, because playing that multiplayer would be such a welcome change, because it's so lonely playing that single player. It's like, it feels so stressful, and like, but it's addicting, because like you can't help but try to survive longer. And but yeah, I'm so stoked for that update. It's like, not just because it's the alpha test that I can actually see the game and play, but it's also just like news alone is great to hear that it's still like coming along. And one other thing too, it's like, they had this announcement. They had this player council where they had these different content creators on YouTube who cover the game, like Brian Menard and Sunny Games, two guys I follow a lot. They've just revealed they've been playing the game for like a year now, and it makes sense, because I noticed that Sunny Games stopped making content. He used to always make these like speculation videos about State of Decay 3, and they just stopped. I should have
stopped all his content, or just
stopped. He put like one video out last year, and it was like kind of just this like, when's the release date going to be? And I got this weird feeling, because like he had posted before that about visiting the studio, and I'm like, I bet he's posting this as like a red herring, because he wants to like make it seem like he doesn't know what's going on. But like, clearly he made that video while under NDA, and he knew clearly there's no updating.
Why would he stop making like State of Decay content in general, though? Just because he's
probably just because he didn't want to like accidentally say something. I don't know. Like, but Brian Menard, he still streams occasionally. He does a lot of mods where he'll play like the Walking Dead State of Decay 2 mod, but he also plays a lot of other games too, not just State of Decay. But anyway, they've been playing State of Decay 3 for like over a year now, and they're contributing to this player council that kind of helps guide the development, which is great, because I feel like I have the same mindset with him. Like when I watched Brian Menard play like lethal difficulties, and he has the same like gameplay mindset as I did. Like he'd always approach things the same way I did. So like, I feel like he knows that gameplay loop really well. So I hope that he's giving the feedback I would give as well. Stoked for it.
Probably not.
He's like, more guns. Just get some more guns in there.
Well, look, it's an hour.
It's been an hour of us talking about State of Decay 3.
At least 15 minutes talking about State of Decay 3.
I'm going to spend even more next time I get to play it once I'm invited to the alpha tests. But yeah, if your takeaway from this is go back to Kickstarter. We're live right now. We would like to talk about some Twin Tails content, some Twin Tails Studios games.
Yes. So hopefully we're on our way to being funded. Fingers crossed. We really hope this Kickstarter goes well. Can't wait to get this Malice Light Adventures to everybody and move on to more exciting projects in the future.
So Undead Labs approaches us and says, "Hey, you guys should make the official State of Decay 3 board game." We're like, "Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Why not?" All right, thanks for joining us, and go back to Kickstarter.
Hope you had a good Easter.
Hope you have a good Easter. Happy is it? That's yesterday. That's 2 days ago.
I hope you had a good Easter.
See you next time.